opening it up to 11. Well, watch what Bill said about the Spurs coming on strong here in the third period, not falling too far behind. Gene Banks to Gilmore, or at least intended for Gilmore. No one touched it. Lakers again. Jamal Wilkes gets in position inside, and he travels.
A little bitty steps. Shot blockers will make you do things like that.
You know, you call that before the official. I kind of think you'll be better off as an official. I don't know. What you think?
No, thank you. No, thank you. And again, no, thank you.
When you're not working with me, I like you right here. Gilmore out to George Gervin. Wilkes in his face. Magic Johnson loses the battle to Mitchell, but they'll jump it up. Mitchell and Johnson.
That sounds like a team, Mitchell and Johnson.
Or a law firm. Spurs and White, they have it. Looking to get it into Artis. Double by Johnson.
They want to make him pass.
And then deny the ball back. Here come the Lakers. He's got Johnson. Nixon does on his right, and Norm Nixon will carry it himself. The Lakers off to the hot start, not the Spurs, and it's 68-55, and a quick timeout by Stan Albeck.
Yes, he knows that this is a timeout, a very important timeout. He's got to get the momentum away from the Lakers. He can't wait too long.
And the critical moment of the game might be coming up.
Head coach, and decided that it was high time for San Antonio legend George Gervin to be phased out. The Iceman firmly believed, even after a decade in San Antonio, that he still had plenty of finger rolls left in him. Here's Paul Johnson with a Vintage Sports Center report from 1985 on the feud between Fitzsimmons and George Gervin.
Like the Alamo, George Gervin is an institution in San Antonio. In his 9 years in the NBA, Gervin has won 4 scoring titles. Only Wilt Chamberlain has won more. And the Iceman has led the Spurs to 5 Midwest Division crowns and 11 playoff appearances. But Gervin's contributions to the team cannot be measured just in statistics. He is the heart and soul of an otherwise average basketball team. His teammates look up to him, as well as the fans. What would the Spurs be like if he left? Well, chances are we may find out soon enough. Talk around the town says the 33-year-old Gervin doesn't fit into Coach Cotton Fitzsimmons' offensive plans. The team is experimenting more with younger guards, and instead of collecting time on the Pine, Ice may be collecting playing time in another NBA town.
I know the fans and everybody know I always enjoy San Antonio, so it's always been my place.
In the past, Gervin has been used to shooting the ball 40 to 50 times a game. Last season, though, Coach Cotton didn't center the offense around Gervin, and that didn't sit well with the veteran guard. As a result, when it comes to talking about Fitzsimmons, the Iceman is downright cold.
I guess what you're really trying to say is, do I like Cotton Fitzsimmons, huh? That what you really want to say? No comment. I ain't got no comment, y'all.
Ice is in the last year of a 6-year contract, which will pay him a base salary of $750,000. Many fans feel the franchise couldn't exist if Gervin ever left. But there are others who feel the club may be better off without him. Either way, nobody in San Antonio will ever forget him.
Well, you played for the Spurs under Cotton this fall.
Ooh, what do you mean by that?
Well, do you want to play another season under him?
No comment. No comment. Not about that. I don't have no comment about the coach and the coaching situation. I enjoyed my team and teammates, and I think we have a ball together. And I don't have no comment about nothing else.
Do you think you're going to be with the Spurs this fall?
I'll be somewhere. I know that.
In San Antonio, I'm Paul Johnson, ESPN.
The feud ended with the 33-year-old Gervin being dealt to the Bulls in October of 1985 for David Greenwood. Gervin averaged 16 points in what would turn out to be his final year in the NBA. Let's head back to Game 6 of the 1983 NBA Western Finals between the Lakers and the Spurs, right here on ESPN Classic.
Back in San Antonio, Texas, Dick Stockton and Bill Russell. The Los Angeles Lakers have scored 10 points in a row since 58-55 late in the second quarter. So they've continued the spurt in the early third. Lakers in a trap. Mike Mitchell. Moore and Gilmore. San Antonio ball.
Now, San Antonio offense is not smooth. They're not moving the ball the way they have to move it. And the Lakers are making them look for the long outside shot. And if they can do that, the Lakers have a good chance to fast break off of those shots.
George Gervin is fouled. Gervin, by the way, has no field goals since the first minute of the second period. Marty Aronoff, our statistician, informs us. There have been times during this series when Gervin has been silenced in several periods during a game. The foul was on Rambis, his first. Moore against Nixon. Wilkes is on Gervin. Good position for Gilmore. And they're going to jump it up. Gilmore got the ball in good position, Russ, but the Lakers got in there in a hurry.
Well, that was not that good a position because that was not the place that he likes to get it so he can shoot. He has to fake and move around, and he didn't have enough room because they had triple team and double team is there. The other night, they were getting the ball to him in a better position so that he could move right away.
All right, Johnny Moore shooting over Magic. Way off the mark. Kareem couldn't hold it.
He has to put a fork in it right there.
Talking
That's time from jumping away.
Talk about Gervin only getting one field goal since the second. Since the first, Gilmore only has one field goal since the first period. And there's his first one since the first period, his second one.
No sooner said than done.
Gilmore with 10 points. So 4 of the 5 starters in double figures for San Antonio. Mitchell leading with 13. 11-point lead. Norman Nixon off the glass. He's got 8. He averaged 15 for the season and 21 so far in this series. Moore penetrating. The other night in Game 3, Johnny Moore hit the key basket almost every time for San Antonio. Wednesday night, that was game number 5. This is game 6. Moore doubling Kareem if he can. Nixon, he's hit his last 3 shots. In trouble. And Johnny Moore brings it up. Loops it for Gilmore.
Magic thought he got pushed out of the way a little bit.
9-point game. Lakers were up by 13, so Spurs are making a comeback with 8:50 remaining in the third period.
That was a good timeout that Stan Albeck called.
He's a good coach. His record shows it. Kareem. There's a rally breaker. 18 for Abdul-Jabbar. He's the game's high scorer. He's shooting over 50% in this game. He had his best field goal year, second best of his career this season. Gervin puts a move on Wilkes. But Rambis gets the boards and gets it out to Magic. 3-on-2. Look at the speed. Draws the foul.
He knew he was going to get a hit on that one. He played the shot counting on a good, strong hit. And here comes the Magic down there. He sees the situation. He knows he's going to get a hit. Now he braces himself for the hit and tries to make the shot, but he doesn't make it, but he was ready for that hit.
Use a little double pump there to see if he can get the foul and then get the basket. He has struggled a little bit from the line. He has been a brilliant free throw shooter, but is having his problems. He's missed 3 so far, hasn't made any. Johnny Moore's foul is his second, each team with 1 team foul. 0 for 4 for Magic Johnson as he shakes his head going up court.
And the longer it goes, the harder it is to make that next one.
The Iceman to Johnny Moore on the base. Out to Moore and George Gervin.
Good assist by Johnny Moore on that play.
9-point game. Nixon. Mitchell the rebound. Johnson gets it back, and look at this. Look what I found, says Kareem. He's got 20 now. He had 30 Wednesday night. In fact, he has 30 points in 2 of the 5 games so far.
And Johnny Moore is a little distracted. He's holding a conversation with the referee.
7.5 remaining in the third period. Gilmore. And they're scrapping. Mitchell and Rambis almost went into a fight. And as you pointed out before Wednesday's game, the officials are going to have to control this thing.
The players will not be able to, and as I said before, they'll get mad at each other and not the officials.
Crowd has churned up a few notches. Gilmore on Kareem. Gene Banks will try to bring the Spurs to 7, and it'll still be San Antonio ball.
Good hustle by Kurt Rambis. He came from the blind side. There's Mitchell on the rebound there.
And look where Kareem was.
He knows what to do with it when you find something like that.
Done everything but score. He has 14 assists, 10 rebounds, and 2 steals. He's having trouble off the line and hasn't scored. But if you want to know about contributions, he's made it. Under 7 minutes to go, third period. Dick Stockton and Bill Russell. George Gervin going in. And he gets what he wanted, the foul. He can cut it to 7. Last time the Spurs held the lead was at 41-39 in the second period.
And Pat Riley has not been able to use Bob McAdoo or Michael Cooper this half. And he may or may not be able to use them, and that can make a huge difference because those guys are a very important part of this Laker team.
7-point game. So they cut off more than half of what the 13-point deficit was in this rally. And the Spurs are playing tight defense. Moore now doubling on Kareem if he can. Nixon is free, and a long sky hook is missed. But the Lakers get another offensive rebound. And Jamal Wilkes. Taking it down is Mitchell. Spurs trying to cut it now to 5. They do. That's Gilmore, 16 points.
And just after St. Aubert called that timeout, which is a great call, they've taken charge of the tempo of this game.
So they did what they had to do. They got back into the thick of it. Norm Nixon with a fine drive inside. He's in double figures in the game.
And if the jump shot doesn't work, do the next best thing.
5:45 remaining, third period. Gilmore setting a pick for George Gervin. Kareem. I think the ball was misfired by Magic. And Johnny Moore penetrates inside, no foul, and Artis Gilmore. He has hit his last 5 shots to bring the Spurs to within 5. So we're seeing another shootout of the big 7-footers tonight. Kareem has 20, Gilmore has 18. Nixon getting hot. 2 in a row for Norm Nixon.
They found the missing J. Jump shot.
After finding the missing L layup. Now Michael Cooper comes off the bench, and so with the bruised ribs that he was nursing, he's going to give it a shot. Banks. Moore. And Johnny Moore fighting on the offensive rebounds, but Kareem comes back. Driving on the other side, Jamal Wilkes with a layup.
And that was an outstanding pass by Norm Nixon because he made a bounce pass on the run, left-handed. But he's a right-handed player. That's an outstanding play.
And they make
it look, spin on it. I'm sorry.
They make it look easier than it is, don't they?
Yes. I know how tough that one is, even if you're left-handed.
Gervin into Banks, draws the foul. Kareem was inside. Let's see if Abdul-Jabbar is hit with it. It is. That's his 3rd personal foul. Here's that pass again.
Now, see, dribbling the ball right-handed there, makes that pass. Perfect bounce right there to the guy with the good hands. Now, here's that pass when Johnny Moore got inside on Nixon. He looks, there's Kareem. Then he makes a nice little pass to Artis. He really knows what to do when he's that close. Both guards are playing outside. Playing outstanding.
Michael Cooper is coming to the ball game, replacing Kurt Rambis. And here's Gene Banks, who has only 5 points, but 2 rebounds. Don't forget, he is playing with a sprained ankle. He reported to practice on crutches before Wednesday's game. We haven't seen McAdoo yet, who is doubtful of returning. 7-point lead, 4 minutes to play, third period. Lakers in front. If they win this game, they go on to Philadelphia Sunday to start the championship series. If the Spurs come back and win, we have Game 7 Sunday. It all begins at 3:30 Eastern Time on CBS. Gervin will foul Johnson. It'll be a one-shot foul, or a foul without a shot. That is the third team foul on the Spurs. Each side with 3 now. 3 team fouls in the period.
And I think one of the reasons that George Gervin is not having a good shooting night is that he's been working very hard defensively and on the boards, and that will take away from your shooting.
Gervin has 3 fouls. Norm Nixon and Wilkes the rebound, and they're going to call a loose ball foul against the Lakers. It's on Wilkes.
They figured he pushed to get the rebound. 14
fouls now against Los Angeles. One more there in the penalty, with 3:25 to go in the third period as Moore works against Nixon. Johnny Moore from Altoona, Pennsylvania. Went to school at Texas. Mike Mitchell. What can you say? He's averaging nearly 8 more points against the Lakers here than he did in the regular season. Timeout. And it's the Lakers over the Spurs by 5. Most valuable player of the game. And in conjunction with this award, Miller will present a check for $1,000 to the Special Olympics in that player's name. Wednesday night, it was Johnny Moore for the San Antonio Spurs. They have won their division title 5 times in the last 6 years. They won 53 games, which was an all-time San Antonio high this year. And now they're trying to force a 7th game against the Lakers in the Western Finals.
And Pat Riley has to be thinking that he's going to do everything he can to win this game tonight and then worry about the next one tomorrow. So you expect to see these guys play a lot of minutes tonight, these key players.
Cooper, Johnson, Wilkes, Nixon, and Kareem are the 5 in there for the Lakers. 10 seconds on the shot clock. In and out, Wilkes. They had a couple of chances, but now San Antonio can cut it to 3, but Michael Cooper on a steal turns into a 2-on-1 fast break. Big steal by Michael Cooper. And Mitchell kicks the ball, but Banks is there in the corner. 82-75, Johnny Moore. He's got 15 points. Michael Cooper. This is the layup, and now San Antonio can cut it to 3. Mitchell fights loose ball, knocks it into the hands of Nixon. He'll settle it down. Kareem was trying to draw the foul, and Gilmore knocked it into the hands of Nixon. Wilkes is open momentarily. Each side has had several chances, up and down. Spurs can still narrow it to 3. Gervin. Under 2 minutes to go, as you can see. It's been a big comeback for San Antonio. They were down by 13 points early in this third period after the Lakers scored 10 in a row. And this is the closest they've been. Kareem fighting Gilmore. And a big basket for LA. Gives them a little breathing room.
Very little.
Seconds on the shot clock. 8 now. Artis. In and out. Mitchell had it and lost it. And the Lakers, Michael Cooper. Magic. Nixon. Artis with another rebound. He's got 12. And Johnny Moore feeds Gene Banks. Banks again. No foul. Loose ball. Tipped up and in. I think it was Moore, but I'll check. Look at Alba. It was Johnny Moore. Three-point game, 23 seconds and 7 on the shot clock here in the third. They're all over Abdul-Jabbar. And Jamal Wilkes in the lane. And Kareem finally ended the siege by stuffing it through with 9 seconds and 8 seconds now remaining in the period. A frenzy, both ends of the floor, the last minute and a half of this period.
This is NBA basketball at its best.
It sure is, Bill. 86-81. Gilmore, no basket. And no foul.
Now here's Johnny Moore taking it in. Passed it to Banks. Missed it. Another hustle play there. Block shot. Tipped up. Goes aboard again. And they're not giving up on this one.
At the end of the third period, it's 86-81. Los Angeles will return after these messages and a word. Fun to go in the fourth. LA leading by 4. We're at the Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio, Texas, where the crowd is primed. They want to see their Spurs send this Western Final to a 7th game Sunday against the Lakers. The Lakers trying to nail it down and take care of business against Philadelphia, waiting to play the survivor. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 26. He scored 30 on Wednesday. Artis Gilmore has 20. He had 25 in game number 5. Be a 2-point game. Rambis fights for the boards, and Magic Johnson comes up. Picks in the point guard. Lakers shot 51% in the first half, 43 in this half, thanks to Spurs' good defense to help San Antonio back in. Rambis. Good hustle inside. 8 points for Kurt Rambis. He's 4 for 4 from the field. 3 minutes gone by, fourth period.
Now this one, San Antonio has to execute their offense. They're trying to get it inside to Gilmore. That's not the shot they wanted, but it worked.
That's one of those shots where you say, don't do it, don't do it. Nice shot, right?
Right.
Edgar Jones. 90-86 now. Tight, taut game. Lakers won the first 2 in San Antonio. Norman Nixon with 14 points. Pat Riley trying to get to the NBA Finals for the 2nd straight year and repeat as the world champion. Team fouls are 1-1. Dunleavy. Johnny Moore's had a lot of time resting. He'll be coming back, and he'll be well rested when he does. Dunleavy has done a good job in his stead at point guard. Here's Mike Mitchell. He's been hitting those jumpers. Now the Lakers come back.